Sybil, are the backbone of the army of dwarfs. They occupy a central position on the battlefield, and protect units from physical damage. They are able to shoot using magic, but their magic supply is small. Therefore, after the charges run out, they have the opportunity to turn into a hawk, to overcome any walls and barriers. And to attack they use the form of a violent bear. When units enter the battle, Sybil are able to cast a shield spell several times, and thereby reduce melee damage. The Watcher is a mobile warrior of the dwarf army, capable of conducting reconnaissance on the adventure map, and providing information about the opponent's army or the number of neutral units. In battle, he has several interesting features. First, like all dwarfs, he has a chance to resist magic. But more interestingly, this unit has the ability to create mines on the battlefield, which adds more variety to the battlefield, forcing the opponent to take defensive measures if necessary and play more carefully. Mine damage is scaled with the growth of the number of units in the unit, which makes the spell more useful. Also, the damage is affected by wearing artifacts that increase the damage of fire magic, or the accrual of bonuses for the possession of elemental obelisks. The Dwarf Watchers are also capable of covering the distance to the target, and will return back to their original position. Dwarf guards form the backbone of the battle army. They are simple and brave warriors armed with an axe and a shield, and protect forges, treasuries and fortress walls from invaders. Also, combat masters and rune keepers teach them special skills to fight dragons, which often populate the northern caves and attack the settlements of the peoples living in the neighborhood. Not infrequently, these conflicts occur between dwarfs and dragons, since a lot of ore and iron, as well as valuable metals, can be mined where these dangerous creatures live. Thanks to this, the dwarf guards do 50% more damage to all living species of dragons. They always have positive morale and encourage other units on the battlefield. Possessing rather average parameters and the ability to respond to all attacks, it is compensated by a slightly overpriced, more resistant to hostile earth magic than any other dwarf. Arsonists are masters of their craft, working in workshops, who know a lot about steam boilers, mechanisms and work with iron. They became so famous for making golems and special magical devices that they were called up to the ranks of experienced engineers for the city of the Forge. There, they were able to fully realize their talents, and Dea, as well as other secret unions, generously paid them in gold for their labors. In addition to crafting steam golems, iron golems, steam dragons, turtle cannons, and mech chests, they are also adept at melee combat. Arsonists can attack 2 hex in close combat, and after an attack, they are likely to set fire to an entire area around them, thereby limiting the opponent in conducting tactical maneuvers on the battlefield. Arsonists themselves have resistance to fire magic, which allows them to exert serious pressure on grouped enemy units that conduct flank attacks with groups of creatures or defend stacks of riflemen. Also, this unit can be attributed to those that can be played with the Armageddon spell, which adds another creature to the general pool of those who are immune to fire. Berserkers are a fighting elite, axe masters and fierce opponents. Their task is to crash into enemy units first and inflict maximum damage. For this they have a higher initiative than other dwarf units. Having realized all the attacking potential, they have the ability due to the focus on the offensive, and will look especially dangerous in the ranks of the units of barbarian heroes. High attack and double hit are just some of their features. They also partially ignore the target's defense, reducing it by 1/3, which allows them to deal even more damage. But their defense is just as strong as their attack, as they do not allow them to be attacked first in combat, and always respond before a melee attack. Like their brothers in arms, magic armor only partially reduces the damage from combat fire magic. Runemasters are powerful warlords who shield armies from artful sorcerers and magical creatures. Their armor is forged to withstand magic and bestow offensive air magic on their wearers. They are fearless fighters and blessed with luck. Having rather average characteristics, they are also protected by a magic mirror from the destructive effects of spells, and a fire shield, which causes problems for everyone who wants to attack them. Immunity to slowing allows them to always play their role on the battlefield on a number of their initiatives and places in the order of action of the units. This is not unimportant for the entire Dwarf faction, since the units of the faction are rather slow. But they have higher protection and health along with other creatures from cities that are more initiative in order of value of moves. Also, with a 20% chance they have a lightning strike ability that scales with the number of the squad. High cost, low unit speed, and low growth compensate for the magical potential of these creatures. Steam golems are the crowning achievement in the art of golem making in general. The larger and sturdier mechanical creations of the dwarfs sow terror and destruction in their wake. Their creation was marked by the fact that catapults and ballistas, as well as pirate cannons, could cause significant damage to city walls and workshops. Strong and large steam golems easily destroy enemy combat weapons. Soulless machines guard cities day and night and accompany mercenary caravans carrying provisions and materials. Like all mechanical units, which are now numerous in the game, it has a number of features. Has no morality, it cannot be resurrected, cured or affected by mind magic. Among other features, half the damage to combat vehicles, immunity to magic in general, protection against bonus cavalry damage, as well as a chance to stun the enemy on impact. It is an expensive and effective melee unit that is also part of the hero's Golem specialization. Mimics are magical creatures that have found their embodiment in the mechanisms of dwarfs, in particular mechanical boxes and chests. Not careful dwarfs often fall prey to these dangerous creatures generated by black magic. So it was repeatedly recorded that eating dwarfs by mimics who confused them with their old clothes chests. All spoiled mechanical chests, which have become mimics, are caught and sent to the battle ranks, wreak havoc and terror in the ranks of the enemy, beckoning them with their charming rich appearance. Creatures are a mechanism, and that defines some of its features. Among other things, these are clumsy creation of support and protection of their units, which can immobilize the opponent's squad by braiding it with roots when they approach allied archers, and cover the weaker units with themselves. Since the mimics are made of the same metal as the armor of the Runemaster, they have a magic mirror, which allows them to partially resist magic. Always slower, but more resistant to shots, which compensates for the lack of speed in battles with a large number of shooters. Mountain Executor, along with boar riders, mastered these wild animals and adapted them for battle. They are dwarfs of the upper class, and elite with all the leadership qualities. Armor with gold leaf and protection from magic. They have a chance to reflect any magic, both combat and negative effects, and also partially protected from air magic, which closes the circle of protection from 4 elements in the ranks of various creatures of this faction. Fearless, making them more resistant to random fear effects. They have a damage bonus for the number of squares traversed, like the cavalry. And they also have a unique feature to attack enemy units, past which they sweep. This definitely adds dynamics to the battle, and makes you think more about the tactics of placing units on the battlefield. The turtle cannon is the crown jewel of the dwarves' creation, a formidable siege weapon with immense destructive power, and the answer to other races' inventions of siege weapons. A mechanism that determines a number of features in the form of a lack of morality and so on. Has a feature for extended artillery depending on the hero, in turn. This makes it possible to attack city walls during a siege. They are immune to level 1 magic, but are not immune to the effects of other magic, as an anchor balance for their increased damage. Such powerful weapons are especially effective against large targets occupying 2 squares. They do 50% additional damage. But all these advantages also require balance. So these weapons are immobile and cannot move around the battlefield. which completely limits their mobility and the right of the first move, so their initiative is at the level of conventional combat vehicles. The steam dragon is another fancy dwarf mechanism. Unlike their fellow forge-created, more deadly and armored juggernauts, these creatures serve for construction purposes, helping to transport large loads and escort caravans. The special fine diamond coating helps to reduce magic damage by 85% and makes the case more elegant. Their very ridiculous appearance and enormous size frighten the commanders of the enemy squads, which allows them to do 50% more damage. In terms of game mechanics, this is a reference to the modification in the Wake of Gods, as well as a way of acting out and creating other game mechanics in support of playing with commanders. Also, their damage increases for the number of squares of the battlefield traversed.